We're going to go ahead and do the difference between an Guruma and a Harai Goshi. So the foot placement is relatively similar, but beyond that, one's more of a popping throw and one is more of a sweeping hip throw.
Yeah, so the Harai Goshi is what it is, sweeping hip. It's primarily a hip throw, but you are using your leg to help sweep over. Now the Guruma major wheel is the idea is you want to wheel your opponent over your leg. They look an awful lot alike. And so that's why we're doing this little video here to show the difference between Guruma, Harai Goshi. But if you throw someone with Guruma and they say great Harai Goshi, just say thank you. No matter what you call it, just call it ippon. You know, so there you go. So let's look at the difference. Which one are you going to do first, Derrick?
I'm going to do the Harai Goshi.
Harai Goshi first, okay. So this is your fundamental Harai Goshi. Everybody knows Judo, knows this will be Harai Goshi. This is one variation of it. So go ahead.
So we're going to have our standard fit in, okay? Notice how my hip is still inside of his, okay? I want it right about there to right about there, depending on your preference. But my hands are still in the classic hip throw stance.
And that's a surikomi action, lifting, pulling, hip throw action, okay. Surikomi.
And then as I pull and pop him up with the hip, the leg comes in and down he goes.
And that's your standard Harai Goshi.
Right. One way I try and explain it is throws like this are leg assisted. They're not all about the leg. It's a cherry on top of the sundae.
That's a good way to put it because it's fundamentally hip throw.
Right. So again, pop him up, hips over, and there he goes.
There you go. So it's Harai Goshi. There's the difference. So you can see mainly hip.
Right. So now when we do the Guruma, my hips are going to be in a completely different position. Whereas before I was in here opening them up in the classic surikomi action. This time my hip's going to be on this side. Almost like I'm banging into the near side hip. And I put my leg above the knee, below the hip.
So your right hip would be on the inside of his left hip.
Right.
So it's not so much of a deep hip action.
Right. I'm not here.
You're not there. You're
right about there.
You're throwing, really, you're going to throw them across your thigh. And actually, with your leg that low, we could say that's more of an Ashi Guruma because we're getting very technical on the, you know. But if you come up higher with the sweep, way up, it's an Guruma. So it's a leg, you're throwing them over your leg. And
a wheeling action around it.
Yeah, can you guys move back a bit because I want to get full view of, there we go, got a full view of the gentleman. Okay, there we go.
All right. So pop out, put up.
And that is more of a Guruma, an Guruma I should say.
Again, back, leg up, and then I wheel him over with my hands.
So you can see the step in is the back step. So he's got still, in this case, using the surikomi grip, lifting, pulling grip action with his hands. But look how the back step. So that it's a more shallow hip action and a more leg action. So that's Guruma. There you have it. And again, if we were really lower with that leg and with a very shallow hip action and more leg across, that is more of an Ashi Guruma is what you used. It's one variation of the Ashi Guruma, which is a very popular one. Leg wheel, Ashi Guruma. Okay, so the Guruma is more shallow with the hip and more leg action. And that's Guruma. So you can see they look very similar, and in many cases people will say, well, that was a great Harai Goshi and you did Guruma. And that's it. So, and again, there are variations of Harai Goshi where you use more leg than not. But for those of you who are the ones who really want the main differences between Guruma and Harai Goshi, there you have it. And also, we threw in Ashi Guruma just for the fun of it. So, there we go. Thanks a lot, guys.